Hello! It's time for another Tuesday's tip. Just yesterday, I posted about the Family Search Worldwide Indexing event. This video is really cool. It's short. If you haven't watched it before, it's worth your time. And as you scroll down, here's the invitation from Family Search to their event. And a little further down, I included a link for people who may have never indexed. And if you click this link, it takes you to this indexing overview on Family Search. You could also get here just by hovering on the indexing tab and clicking on overview. As you scroll down, you'll see this try a guided tour. If I click the try it out button, it takes me to a practice index opportunity. So we have a message here. This image right here is the same image that anyone would see, because the purpose of this try it out tool is for the system to walk you through each field of the image and help you understand how to image properly or index properly, sorry. So each of these little pop-ups, once you've read them, you can close them. Once you complete this practice indexing, you can go to the web indexing page. You can also get here by hovering over indexing and clicking on web indexing. So this takes you to your personal indexing page. So it has batches that I have downloaded, well, I haven't downloaded them, but batches I started and haven't finished. And obviously I haven't really started them because they're all on 0%. But when I click open batch, it will take me into one of those sets of records. As we scroll down, you get to see my progress, and I'm going to tell on myself here. I have been using the software that you can download for indexing, and just last week when I was at the Family History Center, one of my friends was telling me that they want us all to stop using the software and doing it on our computers that way because they would like to transition everyone to the web tool. So this week I switched and I've started using the web tool. So this is just what I've done yesterday and today, and those are records, not batches. If you are an LDS church member, you can also see the groups that you are part of, your units, so your stake and ward. And it looks like my stake could maybe participate a little bit more. If I click on one of my batches, if I clicked this open, it would open that. I happen to have it open. So here is that set of records to index. And I just want to walk you through a couple so that you can see it's pretty easy. Oh, I should also point out one thing. It says that this collection is intermediate, but I think it's actually pretty easy. I may be biased because I've indexed for a long time. And if you wanted something different, you can click this Find Batches. And the Oklahoma school records are right here at the top, and that's why I clicked on it. I often index in French. And if you research in a language that you're comfortable researching in, it's a huge help to Family Search if you will index anything that's a foreign language set, because they have fewer foreign language indexers than they have indexers in English. So if you, for instance, research German records, you could type German here and then filter the results so that you're seeing collections that are in German. But I'm going to stick with an English record set that, as I said, they have listed as intermediate. So this is the first thing you'll see when you open a set to be indexed. Notice it says image 1 of 4, and you can see 4 images down here. The first thing it wants to know is, should this record really be indexed? And the reason they're asking is this is a book that was photographed or scanned in some way, most likely photographed, and they're going to photograph that entire book. And in any book like this, there's always going to be pages of instructions to the enumerator or the person who created the or recorded the information, and those don't need to be indexed. We're just indexing records that have data about people. So this is one image that has 1, 2, 3, 4 entries. These are Oklahoma school records from this time period, and these are done by family. So this is the parent and then the children that are attending school. So each page will be different. And so the first thing it wants to know is, should I index this? And I'll say yes, because there's data about people. And so then it's going to show me image 2, and once again it needs to be indexed, and here's image 3, and I tell it yes, I need to index it, and here's image 4, and wow, this one was even crossed out. And we're going to say yes, this needs to be indexed. Now it takes me back to image 1, and I can zoom in or out a little bit. I use a Mac, so I'm just gently moving my fingers on the glass pad. If you're using a PC with a mouse, you can spin that little wheel in the middle, and it will help you zoom in and out. So it's first asking us for the parent or guardian's given names. So Perry, and then it's asking for the surname, which is Hutchinson. Now you don't have to capitalize. It's going to automatically capitalize for you. If you do capitalize, it doesn't hurt anything, but it's nice to know. It saves you a little time. It wants to know if there are any titles or terms. This would be Mr. or Mrs. or Doctor. We don't have any for this parent. And then the post office is Nash. And now it's asking about the children. So we just have one child in this family that attended school. So the first name is Vernal, and then Hutchinson. And as soon as I hit that H, it auto-populated with the last name of the parent, which is nice. And then I can hit tab. This child is listed as white and a male. And October, if I just hit O, it's gonna autofill for me. If you're on a month like March or May, if you hit the M, it goes in chronological order. So you get March. If I hit M again, I would get May. So, and then J would be January, June, then July. So you can just keep hitting that letter. Then as I tab, it wants the birthday, which is the 17th, and the year is 1920, and the child is 8, and the event year is 1929. And then it wants to know if there is a second parent or guardian's given names. We do have two parents going on here. We have the father and we have the mother, but the mother signed her name as Mrs. Perry Hutchison, which isn't particularly helpful. So we'll tab through, and it doesn't list the county anywhere on here. It does list the township or street. I've indexed maybe 7 or 8 of these batches, and so far only one batch of these records had the county anywhere on there. When I hit tab, it's going to take me to entry 2 of 3 on image 1. So I'm going to grab the page and slide it over. Now you'll notice that the default setting is to give me 3 entries for an image, but I actually have 4. I had 1 on that part of the image, and I have 3 here. So if I click over to entry 3 and scroll down, there's something different down here. I have the option to either go to the next image or create entry 4. I'm going to need that entry 4, so I'll just click on that. And so this entry 4 would be for Jack. Now as I go to my next image over here, this is image 2. You'll see that I have 6, so I would need to add another image a couple of times. And when I come to this one, I only have 2 entries. So when I come to that 3rd entry, I can mark the entire field blank on that one. So those are just a couple of little things. I have one other little trick that I just want to share with you. Sometimes there are words that the handwriting's not great and you're kind of struggling to figure out what they say. And this entire set of images looks really good, so it won't be quite as obvious how helpful it is. But let's just say I couldn't read this name very well, which doesn't really need to be indexed, but this is probably the sloppiest thing. I have a glass pad for my mouse on my Mac, so I'm just using my finger and I just kind of trace as if I'm writing, and I imagine I'm writing the name, and sometimes a letter that is difficult to decipher, when I'm moving my finger as if I'm writing it in cursive, it becomes more clear to me what is written on the page. So that's just one little trick that I have. The last thing I want to point out is no matter what you're working on, in your batch, up here you have a few help things that are really helpful. So you have project instructions that you can scroll through and read all of this information. They have a couple of tabs. Sometimes there are collections that are a little more complicated, and one of these links will actually open a set of instructions in a new window for you, and they have like images with explanations of different things. This one's pretty straightforward, so it's all in this pop-up window. But let's say I was on this field, the post office, and I wasn't quite sure if I should do just Nash or the whole thing Nash and then the abbreviation they used for Oklahoma. I can click on Field Help. So I get this window that is just kind of blank, and then I click on the field I want help with, and then I can go through and read the information about the specific field I have a question on. The same would apply to any of the fields. So I hope that's helpful. If you have never indexed before, give it a try. Go to the practice and then go in and find a batch that seems appropriate for you, that you're comfortable with. And here's the thing to remember. When you have, well, let me show you one thing. So this batch, I've done just a little bit. If I click this back arrow, it's going to take me back to the web indexing page. And now we'll see that I've completed 14% of that batch. Let's say I download a batch and I work on it, and then something happens. I don't have time to come back to it. Maybe I get sick, or I'm busy and I can't do it. Everything that you have completed will be saved, and if they have to take the batch and give it to another indexer, the work that you did doesn't go away. That indexer just picks up where you left off and completes the batch. So it's really low pressure, and if you don't like a batch, if you start it and it's hard, for instance, I opened this one and I've done some indexing for South African records, and this particular set of records are in Afrikaans, and I was in a hurry, and it takes a little extra work because you have to pull up a list of terms, and I didn't have time. Let's say I feel like I'm not going to have time to do this. I can return the batch and it will go to another indexer. Or I can just leave it sitting here and they'll take it away and give it to someone else. So it's super low pressure. You don't have to stress if you get busy or if it's too hard. But if every one of us just indexed one batch this week, it would have a huge impact on everyone that's working on family history, because it would put more records into Family Search that are searchable by keywords. So if you are willing to pitch in and help, please do so. It will be awesome for all of us. Okay, have a fabulous day, and we will see you next time.